Hey, everybody! Welcome to another episode of Superhero Roundup Live here on SourceFedNERD. I am Matt Lieberman, joined always Mr. Sam Basher.
Hello.
Mr. DJ Wooldridge.
Hello.
And a very, very special guest today, Mr. Sam Humphries.
Yay.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Sam, you've written for Marvel. You've written for Image. Where else have you written for?
God, Dark Horse, Boom, Archaea. I think that's about it.
Yeah.
Primarily for Marvel, primarily for Image. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And right now you've got a new book out called Citizen Jack.
That's right. Coming out very soon.
Coming out
November
very
4th.
soon. November 4th.
Mark it
for
on your
Image.
calendars.
Mark
Yeah.
it on your calendars.
Now, we've all read the first 2 issues of Citizen Jack, and I think it's hysterical.
Thank
and
you
I
very
really,
much.
really
Bless
appreciate the satire in it.
You're my favorite of all 3 hosts so far.
Damn it.
Yes!
But there's still time for either
Okay.
you to
Yeah.
jockey for position.
And we're
Can I
gonna-
tell you my favorite bits?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, please.
Just in
please.
2 words.
That's all.
Cricket
Damn it.
and electability.
Yeah, those are the 2 best
yeah,
jokes
yeah.
of the whole thing. And we won't spoil them for you, but we're gonna talk a lot more about Citizen Jack and about your career, and of course, all about comics. The question of the day, we always have one here on Superhero Roundup, and it is, does the future of comics look like? After all of these superhero movies, superhero TV shows, we've got kind of like, have we reached a saturation point of superheroes? How is it affecting the comic books industry? And what are we going to be seeing more of and less of as time goes on? And you can weigh in on that conversation via Twitter using the hashtag SHRoundup or in the chat. Now, we do this show live every single Friday, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, okay? It's not moving around. That's where it is. So if you want to join in on the conversation live, you can go to youtube.com/SourceFedNERD to do so, all right? Thank you. So we're also going to talk about a ton of superhero news that came out this week. But first, we want to talk to Sam about your career. Now, how did you get started in comics?
Oh, that's a good question. I started off in comic books. I'd done a couple short stories and I'd done a lot of pitches, but I had to come. It was the end of 2010, beginning of 2011. I had to come to terms with the fact that I was going to have nothing happening in 2011. I was going to have a dead year right at the beginning of my career. I was going to squander all the momentum I had built up. So I decided that I was going to have comics come out in 2011, whether a publisher agreed to publish me or not. I was like, I'm going to do these 2 books, whatever it takes. If a publisher wants to jump on board, if they want to pick up these books, that's great. But I'm going to move forward assuming that I'm just going to self-publish these things. And the first book I did was called Our Love Is Real. Are you guys familiar with Our Love Is Real?
I believe we have an image that's up right now.
Oh, wonderful! Yeah. Just in case there are people of a sensitive nature watching, Our Love Is Real is a science fiction love story about a guy who really loves his dog.
That's fantastic.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah. So
Go on.
it was just a one-shot. It was black and white. It was a weird format. And I got to say, a lot of really smart people told me not to do this. Told me not to do this book.
Yeah.
Because I was basically just going all in, just pushing all my chips to the center of the table and being like, look, these are the 2 books that I feel best represent who I am as a writer right now. They were as much comics for readers as they were comics for people who are hoping to hire me.
Yeah.
And they were kind of like statements like this is what I can bring to the table. This is who I am. This is why comics needs me.
What was the other book?
The other book was called Sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
It was a time travel story about a guy from the current era who accidentally time travels back to the height of the Aztec Empire.
Oh, wow.
So he has to figure out a way to stop the Spanish conquest of the Americas.
Oh, wow.
One of the biggest historical events of all time.
Mm-hmm.
He has to figure out how he is going to stop it. So Our Love Is Real, kind of from left field, a little controversial. Sacrifice is like a little more traditional, stranger in a strange land, hero's journey kind of thing. I really thought that like Our Love Is Real would get me a little buzz, and Sacrifice would really get me the work because it's much more in line with what most comics work is like. But Our Love Is Real just took off right away. The day it came out, there are copies selling on eBay for $125.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I self-published them, so I only published 300 copies because I thought that's what I could move. But I ended up moving a whole lot more than that. I went through 4 additional printings, and then Image stepped in and published a regular edition through main distribution channels because I was distributing it myself. It was only available in a handful of stores.
Yeah, because that's how I remember seeing it was an Image.
Yeah. Later that fall, they picked it up and did through like wide distribution through Diamond and all that. So, but it was like only a couple weeks after Our Love Is Real that I got an email from Steve Wacker at Marvel Comics, who I had just blind sent the comic to, and he emailed me and he said, "Congrats on Our Love Is Real. You did it. What's your phone number?" And then 20 minutes later, I was talking on the phone with Axel Alonso, editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics, saying, "Hey,
Pretty dope.
Wow.
really like your work.
Wow, that's
Can
so
you
It's that
wanna get in the
fast.
mix?" Yeah, it went really fast. Like, I believed, a foolish belief perhaps, but I believed deep in my heart that what I was doing was going to work, but I did not think it was going to work that fast or that well.
Well, so that's sending like a wonderful message to folks out there who do want to get into comics. Just do it. Make your thing.
You don't need anybody's permission to make a comic book. You don't need anybody's permission to do whatever kind of creative work you want to do in this life. But I'm assuming you're interested in comic books. You don't need anybody's permission. If you are waiting around for a publisher to notice you, if you're waiting around for a publisher to get back to you, to read your pitch, whatever, stop wasting your time. Just find people, if you're just a writer, find an artist. If you're an artist, find a writer. Just get working on your comics. Make a 5-page story, an 8-page story, a 20-page story. You don't have to start on a 60-page or 60-issue epic right out the gate. I am still waiting to start my 60-issue epic. That's not something you're prepared to do when you're first starting. Be kind on yourself, be gentle, but get your work out there. Be so good that they can't ignore you anymore. That's really how you get the work these days.
Wow.
And I think it seems to be
advice.
true for not just comics, but for a lot of like creative industries. It's like you've got to
I think
do
so.
something to say
Yeah.
like, pay attention.
The internet's out there. It makes it easy to do your own video show. It makes it easy to upload your own comic, to make a web comic, or to do whatever kind of format you want to do. As long as it's a real comic that somebody can read, then you are a comic book creator. You have made a comic book, and nobody can take that away from you. No publisher can say, "No, you're not a real creator." No pro can say, "No, you're not like us." If you do that, if you just buckle down, make those 5 pages, those 10 pages, whatever it is, you make your comic, you make your statement, then you are a comic book creator, and you will be a comic book creator for the rest of your life.
Wow. Fantastic.
It's an amazing thing, isn't
Yeah,
it?
that's very inspirational.
Yeah. So obviously from Our Love Is Real and now all the way to Citizen Jack, you have a really twisted sense of humor.
Thank you.
And it's one that I really appreciate. Was that something that that Marvel came out and said was a big interest of why they wanted you to do Star-Lord?
Yeah, the humor was definitely something that they wanted in Star-Lord for sure. I don't think that they wanted me to go full Our Love Is Real with Star-Lord.
Oh, come on. You can handle it. If there's one corner of the Marvel universe that can handle it.
We can take a Star-Lord Rocket Raccoon relationship, okay? I'm sure
It's
there's the
2013.
shippers out
Yeah.
there.
There's
They
at
definitely
least some
have.
slash fic that exists like that.
They have an amazing bromance. There's no question about that. Yeah, but
They're my bro TP.
Yeah, every Star-Lord is a character who's a bit of a scoundrel. He's got a bit of attitude to him, a bit of swagger, and I think they had seen that before in my previous work with them and in books like Our Love Is Real and Sacrifice. One thing that Marvel has always been very consistent with me on and with other creators I know is that they say, we haven't brought you in the mix because we want you to write like Brian Bendis or Jason Aaron. We brought you in the mix because we saw something in your writing that we don't have, going on at Marvel. We want you to bring those things that we saw in Our Love Is Real and Sacrifice or whatever your work is previous to Marvel. We want you to bring that into your Marvel work. So it's never been a situation with them where I've felt afraid to bring those kind of sensibilities into whatever I'm doing with them.
Super cool.
Is there a book in particular that you're most proud of?
Ever?
Yeah.
God. It's such a difficult question.
I know,
You're
and
not
I
supposed to pick your-
apologize.
But Citizen Jack, because I'm promoting it.
Nice.
But I think, Sacrifice is a really special book to me because people are like, oh, it took place during the Aztec era, and what kind of research did you do for the book? And that's actually the opposite of what happened. I became obsessed with the Aztecs just because I fell in love with them. I started reading about them, and it led to more and more research. I got a stack of Aztec books at home this high, and eventually I was like, God, there's an amazing story here that we don't learn, especially in this country, in our history books, in our history classes. In fact, there's a completely false story perpetrated by the Europeans that has been proven false since the archaeological digs in Mexico City in the 1970s.
Is it that of human sacrifice? Is that...
That's definitely part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, when they started digging the subway tunnels in Mexico City in the 1970s, they found all of this archaeological evidence that was buried, possibly inadvertently, by the Spanish as they developed the colonies. But anyway, so there's a whole version of the Aztec story that just we don't know about, and it's a beautiful story about an amazing culture. And to be able to bring that to life, to be able to show people what I fell in love with this culture that has been functionally dead for 500 years, to resurrect their voices a little bit, if I get super pompous about it, but just to kind of show what these people were really like and not what the Europeans thought of them, that was a really special thing. That's and I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
Can I ask you what are the differences between like working at a big publisher like Marvel and like independently publishing? Because you do what a lot of creators do, where it's like you got your steady stream of like big publisher stuff, and then you've got your own personal stuff with like Image or Dark Horse or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with something like Star-Lord or Spider-Man, this is a character. Yeah. There are creators who came before you, who created this character and did a lot of work on this character, and there are characters who have come after you. You are part of a tradition. You are part of a string of work, and there's a lot that has come before you that you have to respect and you have to acknowledge, and you have to work it into your work. Yeah. That's a beautiful thing. That's an amazing thing, especially with character like Superman or Batman, who have been around since the late 30s, early 40s. That's an amazing kind of like weird time travel. You're collaborating with people who were doing work in the 40s and stuff. That's an amazing thing. But with creator-owned work, you are the beginning. Yeah. And if you choose to be, you are the end. Yeah. So you get to control every little thing about this new character that you come up with. Yeah. And sometimes when you're working on a pre-established character, a work-for-hire situation, there's an itch you want to scratch. Maybe you saw a news story. Maybe a friend told you something that happened to them. Maybe you had a dream and you're like, God, I really want to say something about this. I really want to do something about this. There just isn't always room in those characters to do this kind of thing. So as an example, when I became so frustrated and pissed off about the American political system that I had to do something or say something about it.
Star-Lord wasn't the book.
Star-Lord wasn't the place for that. It just wasn't the place. What? Marvel will let me do a lot with Star-Lord, and perhaps they would have let me give it a shot, but let's be honest here, like that's just not the place. Yeah. This is a book about a space pirate. Yeah. So, I had the outlet and the opportunity to work with Image to create a new book where I could address those kind of things.
Yeah, so tell, for those who don't know Citizen Jack, can you explain it?
Citizen Jack is my new creator-owned comic. Comes out November 4th from Image. It is a horror comedy about a presidential candidate who worships the devil.
Pretty much. And the first 2 issues we got to read, and they're really, really funny.
Thanks, man.
And it kind of reminds me, like, I haven't read satire like that in comic book form since, I don't know if you ever read Birth of a Nation by Aaron Magruder.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's a great book.
Which is a fantastic book. Yeah. One of my all-time favorites. And it definitely has echoes of that. So you should
I love
be
that.
very
Yeah.
proud.
And the work he did with Kyle Baker, too, around that era was great. I love Kyle Baker's stuff from way back. He's a great satirist, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you guys haven't read that book, it's... Birth of a Nation is an Aaron Magruder book where East St. Louis secedes from the United States and becomes its own country, and it's fantastic.
It's crazy to speak about this book now, right?
Yeah.
Maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah,
maybe a little
it's
more.
like maybe a decade old.
Yeah. Everyone, please read this book.
I'll
It's
check it
amazing.
out.
It's a fantastic book.
Yeah.
Okay, do you think it's time to talk about a little news?
I just had a quick question
Sure.
for you. Out of all like the
You
obscure...
don't get any quick
You
questions.
don't
I
Yes.
get one.
You're trying to
tiny-
steal my
Sam
name
has a
over
plan.
here.
Sam asked Sam
Trying
a
to steal my
question,
name?
and
The
I
other
was
hell, my
like,
swagger.
the
I'm not
others-
stealing this.
Stop.
Sam has a
Oh,
question.
yeah, we both had
Come on,
jeans.
come on.
Oh, damn. Oh, yeah, I have one obscure question for you. Out of all comic book characters ever in history, think of the most obscure one and the most obscure story you've ever wanted to do with that character.
Okay.
What do you got? What would you want to do?
God, I know a lot of obscure characters. Too many obscure characters.
Perfect.
It interferes with my day-to-day life, to be honest with you. It's not healthy. Marvel Comics did a one-shot in the 80s. They did a lot of crazy one-shots that are well-remembered and well-loved. This is not one of them. It's called The Generic Comic Book.
Yes.
Do you know this?
No, that sounds
No.
great.
Sounds like a good
The
title.
Generic Comic Book, and the cover is actually white, and it just says Generic Comic Book in like the plainest font possible. And it says inside, please find superhero story or something like that. Just plain white. And on the inside is like the most bland retelling of a typical superhero, Marvel Comics superhero origin.
Jeez.
Here's a guy who struggles with his job and something happens to him and now he's burdened with the responsibility. And it wasn't even credited, and I've asked around a lot, it was credited to a writer and a artist.
Oh, wow.
And I've asked around a lot because I want to know, like, who wrote this?
Does
Who
anyone
wrote
know?
this? No, but I remember when we were kids, me and my friend, when we discovered it, we used to joke about writers and artists that we hated. We were like, oh, he probably made this one. He probably made the generic comic book. But it maybe lost to history. I'm sure Tom Brevoort knows the answer or can find the answer if I bug him long enough to do it. But I think there's something amazing about the idea of an intentionally generic comic book as a satire.
That's really cool.
I think that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
I just want to see Buona Beast in George Orwell's Animal Farm.
Oh, okay. All right.
I just think
Yeah.
that would be
Okay.
really
I'll
weird.
go
and fun.
there. Yeah. Wait, how about you?
Most generic?
Or, like,
Most obscure.
most obscure
obscure?
character that you would love to do a book about, or just read a book about.
Oh, my
Or
God.
give me a job. I'll write it for you.
Oh, yeah? Oh, God.
I'm
Oh.
hired.
Oh, no. All right.
No pressure, Sam.
Oh, no, of
Let's
course
move on
not.
to DJ.
Of course
DJ,
not.
what you
No,
got?
no, I think he
DJ.
just had it. He just had it. He
Oh,
just
no,
had
no,
it.
no,
have
I
it.
don't. DJ, you go. You go.
I don't know. Man, I don't know because characters that used to be obscure are not anymore.
Absolutely.
Like, it's
Yep.
like the Ant-Man has his own blockbuster movie starring
yeah.
Paul Rudd.
Or Jessica Jones. Squirrel Girl's a hit
Yeah,
right now.
it's
you know?
like Squirrel
yeah.
Girl is
How
probably
that
on her
happen?
way to becoming a movie. I think it'd be cool to touch on what Grant Morrison did with what did he call Limbo, with all the forgotten characters, all the characters that were kind of thrown away in his
what
Animal
book was
Man
that
run.
in? Oh, his Animal.
Yeah, the Animal Man.
yeah.
He goes to Limbo, and all these characters that nobody gives a shit about. My dad and I used to collect in the '90s. We used to collect Marvel trading cards, and there's a character called Slapstick that was basically a living cartoon.
Wow.
And that's the only reference I have from him anywhere. The other one that always stood out to me because of his look was a character called Sleepwalker, but he has shown up at a few
Sleepwalker
things.
was dope.
Sleepwalker looks so
dope.
cool.
He needs a new solo title. Though.
Yeah.
I think that's a good insight. I think you need to run with that.
I think it'd be cool to see somebody do with Sleepwalker what Warren Ellis did with Moon Knight,
Yeah.
and revitalize him a little bit and make him more. I don't know. Nah.
I'm into this.
No.
Okay.
I've been checking out Warren Ellis's Moon Knight, by the way,
It's
per
so
your
good.
suggestion.
Oh, it's great.
And I just thought, I thought of it.
Declan Shalvey.
Yeah.
Shout out to Deck. What's up?
I just thought of, so there's a bunch of obscure characters, and I got a book on all the obscure comic book characters that got really famous for being so weird. I like Arm Fall Off Boy. You know him?
Arm Fall Off Boy.
Yeah, or Arm Fall Off
his
Boy.
powers
Yeah.
I saw him on tour back in 2003.
Yeah, he flies. Yeah. I want him, but I want him to save the world on the sly. To the real danger, kind of like the Booster Gold episode from the Justice League Unlimited.
Sure, yeah.
He's the real hero of the story. Just think
But
about
nobody
that.
knows.
Nobody knows except
Yeah.
for Booster Gold.
Yeah.
I'd love to see a story where Howard the Duck runs for president.
They've done this, right?
Citizen
Wait,
Duck.
seriously?
Yeah. in
No!
the 70s. Yeah.
Oh, I have to read this
You are
run.
aware of this, right?
No,
Yeah,
because I don't
Captain
read
America
Howard
running
the
for
Duck. I
president?
just know him from the movie. I just love the movie.
Somebody in the comment.
You love the
do?
movie?
For the
That's
right
weird.
for the right reasons, not because
the
it's
right
a good
reasons.
movie,
Dark turn.
not
I like
because
for
it's
the
a
right
good movie in
reasons.
any way, but just it's so bafflingly weird.
is
weird
weird,
and bad.
isn't it?
George
and it's
Lucas
like
is
it's
attached
one
to that,
thing,
right?
and then the last
he
30
was,
minutes
yeah.
is an entirely different movie.
Somebody else in the comments also pointed out Darkhawk, which was a really cool.
Darkhawk
character
is
from the
great.
90s.
Darkhawk has a posse.
Yeah.
There are people who love Darkhawk and always want to see him back.
When Landing and everybody were doing all those cosmic books, they did a little Darkhawk that was supposed to be part of that.
okay,
So
yeah.
I'm going to request that you include Darkhawk in Legendary Star-Lord.
Request denied, DJ.
Okay.
Damn. All right. Well,
Just kidding. Who knows? Who knows what can happen?
Let's
do
talk
like
about
Darkhawk.
Darkhawk's
let's
pretty
talk about
cool.
some news, shall we? A bunch of stuff happened this
Let's
week.
do it.
Sure. What's up?
So first thing we have to talk about is a bit of DC news. There was a big leak, supposedly, regarding Man of Steel 2 and the plot of Man of Steel 2, and that apparently Brainiac comes to Earth looking not for Superman, but for Kara Zor-El, for Supergirl, and that they're making the movie, instead of making it a Superman movie, they're making it a two-hander between Superman and Supergirl, because on some level, some executive is worried that people don't like Superman enough.
Oh, well, another other thing is that I heard that rumor associated with the fact that like George Miller's supposed to do it, and Mad Max was obviously very female-centric.
Right.
And so the story is that he's still on that kick, which I don't know whether is that a chicken or the egg
Chicken or the egg
situation.
situation?
Is the rumor that it's going to be more Supergirl focused because George Miller was
Miller's
rumored
rumor?
first, or George Miller really wants that?
Or is it just a scenario where the executives, in an effort to court George Miller, thought,
like,
hey, let's
hey,
do like a female-centric take
Listen,
because he's into that.
we could make Lois Lane a more well-rounded character, but fuck that. Let's do Supergirl.
Potentially, Bizarro Brainiac creates Bizarro, and Bizarro fights Superman.
Because why not? Yeah.
Because why not?
yeah.
I mean, look, the evil Superman versus good Superman fight in Superman 3, classic. Classic.
Is it classic?
Yeah. Everyone
is.
remembers
So many
it.
tires.
Howard the Duck over here.
over here.
But the scene of Superman pounding whiskey shots and
Yeah.
flicking peanuts through the wall.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's amazing.
The video game when he's trying to go attack.
Okay, yeah.
What's his name, Vaughn?
We all have our faults here. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, come on. No, but I think because I've said that the TV continuity is going to be separate from the movie continuity for DC,
Right.
correct?
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that Supergirl TV show looks amazing.
Thank
I'm
you.
really excited for that.
Thank
I'm really
you.
into that.
So there's two people here that
Yeah.
think
Oh,
that.
there
Yeah.
is them?
I
Right
was
down,
the
right
only
here.
person defending
It
the
looks
show.
fantastic.
I'm in for it.
It just looks so fun and happy. Like I can't wait for it. But if it's different, I guess I'm still excited for Supergirl because I think she's a great character.
Yeah.
And I love Brainiac. I think Brainiac's an
I've
amazing.
always
villain.
wanted to see a live-action Brainiac.
Because we've gotten two
Amazing.
Zods.
Yeah.
We have
We've
two
got
Zods.
We've got
no
plenty
Brainiac.
of Lex Luthor. We've never gotten Brainiac or Metallo or Parasite or Bizarro. Like there's
Mr. Mixie Spitlick.
Toyman, Mr. Mixie Spitlick.
That's
like,
how you
can-
say that. God damn.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
I'm impressed.
Thank you.
And if you have Brainiac, then you have like a possible tendril web of a plot that can lead to Legion of Superheroes.
Yeah.
It'd be very
Ooh.
cool.
That would be really
And with
cool.
Supergirl, you have another tendril to Legion of Superheroes.
Absolutely.
She could get
I
her
mean,
own
with
spin-off
Superman,
movie.
you
With
absolutely
yeah,
do. Yeah,
she
so
could
it's
get her own
like-
spin-off with the Legion of Superheroes.
Yeah.
See, to me, Legion of Superheroes seems like something that they would do on TV first, and I would really love to see on
would
TV.
really like to see that on the Supergirl show.
They'll probably
Yeah.
do it. Let's be
Yeah,
honest. They'll
that's
do it.
probably the way in. Is
They
you
did it on Smallville, didn't they?
They
They
did
did.
do it on
They did. They did a
Smallville,
little bit,
and
yeah.
they did it on Superman the Animated Series. But I feel like you start that
They
on
had a Legion
Supergirl.
animated series.
Yeah, they did
briefly.
Briefly,
Yeah.
but I feel like you'd start that on Supergirl and then expand outwards. Look, I don't know whether or not the rumors about Man of Steel 2, whether or not they're true, or whether or not it would make a better or worse movie. I will say that I'm excited to see Brainiac on screen, Bizarro on screen. I'm excited that it's not a story we've seen before.
Sounds like a
There
dope
you go.
lineup.
Yeah.
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 I've never wanted Bizarro. I've never even thought about having Bizarro in a movie before. But hey, go
I
for
think
it.
Bizarro
I've
can't
never
be.
even considered Bizarro.
Yeah.
No, not even once. There's
See,
a
I
million
want
people
Bizarro
before
as
him.
like a one-shot movie, kind of like Deadpool,
Yeah.
where it's just like, this is just a ridiculous movie. It's not going to connect to anything.
got his own comic
It has
right
its
now.
own logic and attitude.
He's got his own
Bizarro's a great
5-issue
character.
comic.
He's a great
yeah, but
character.
I feel like he's a tough character to like.
Well, he's
get.
he's like a plot character because you don't have Bizarro without Superman to bounce him off of.
Yeah.
You know, like he's not. The solo book I think is great, but
Yeah.
that solo book lives in a world where you already are
Yeah.
reading Superman. And,
I also liked All-Star Superman, where Bizarre was kind of like a zombie
oh,
invasion.
Yeah, and very sweet too.
Yeah.
Kind of heartbreaking.
No,
Now
that was
you're
pretty.
trying to make me cry. It's messed up.
So this week on the Marvel side of things, or really over at Fox, Rupert Wyatt, who's supposed to direct Gambit, has left the project over reasons that no one's quite.
Scheduling is
Yeah, they're
what's
saying it's
scheduling.
scheduling. They're
Yeah.
saying it's scheduling. That moving the shoot back has made it impossible for him to do it. Other folks are saying that he doesn't want to be responsible for getting a movie in on like a really tight deadline, especially one that's supposed to launch a brand new franchise. Gambit is supposed to be the new Wolverine for all of Fox's Marvel titles.
Ooh, that's a
to
tough thing to
link
say.
everything together. They want Channing Tatum's Gambit to be the new face of their superhero franchise, which is a dicey proposition at best, I would say. Not because of Channing Tatum in any way. I actually think he's a really fine actor and could hold his own. But Gambit as the face of their franchise?
Personally a fan of Gambit because I grew up in the 90s.
Sure.
But I don't know if he has a good replacement for Wolverine just because, I mean, he's not like... Wouldn't you want to bank on Deadpool? Because he's almost as saturating
But
the
see,
market as...
Deadpool isn't intended to connect with any of the other movies.
Wait, no. Yes, it is. That's the thing. That's the news that came out this
I thought
week.
the news was that was a standalone.
No. Actually, this year we you can check out SourceFedNERD. We did news on it this week. That Gambit, Deadpool, and X-Men are all connected. Says Simon Kinberg. He didn't plan anything out. Also, what he said we haven't really done anything with it, but it's like all up here. He's saying that they're all going to connect somehow, in some way. Yeah, that's the face I made when I read it too.
Oh, sounds all right to me.
Yeah. Look, there's nothing wrong with interconnectivity among movies. I just don't know. I just don't know. Like, that's the thing is, like, a lot of Marvel's, like, biggest heavy hitters are now outside of the Fox family. They're still considering this Fantastic Four 2, which, you know, like, I would love to see them do that movie right. That would be great. And there was nothing really wrong with the cast that they had. I just don't know how you anchor it around Gambit, because like as much as I like Gambit as a character, he's never really seemed like much of a leader to me.
You know, I would say you make your X-Force movie, and you basically is a team of Wolverines of that same roguish character, and you see which one the audience responds more to.
See, that's the interesting thing, because you'd think with X-Men Apocalypse they would use that as the opportunity to launch some of those characters to potentially see if they have an X-Force movie in the offing based on fan reaction.
Yeah.
I think the real opportunity here is for Gambit, the movie, to be an action romance.
With Léa Seydoux.
With Channing Tatum, you know,
Yeah.
and he's charming, he's jumping around.
That's something we've not really seen with the
what was
superhero
that,
stuff.
the Brad Pitt Angelina movie? That was
Oh, Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yeah, something like Mr. and Mrs. Smith, right? That's not bad, right?
Yeah,
I think
that's
that's my favorite Doug
definitely a
Liman
different
movie.
flavor, a different tone.
I think the closest you got to like the romance stuff in the superhero movies is probably Raimi's Spider-Man movies,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but nothing like
Not quite.
Yeah.
not
And I would
quite.
say
could
for
be
like
really
10
cool.
minutes of the Wolverine.
yeah.
Yeah. Like 10 minutes.
Like 10.
I want a superhero rom-com.
I think
down.
that'd be great.
Yeah.
I think that'd be cool.
Was Incredibles kind of like that a little bit?
No,
Is that a stretch?
Family.
Is that a stretch?
Family movie.
Yeah.
For maybe like
But
5
great
minutes?
movie.
Yeah, oh
Great
yeah.
movie.
One of the
and
best.
the second
Yeah.
one, whew,
I'm
real
real
excited
for that.
Buddy.
Wait, what did you guys think about DC coming out and saying that they are, we said it earlier, but they are splitting up TV and movie universes. They will
It's
not connect.
a great idea.
But what she said was that, I'm blanking on her name who came out and said it, but she said that it frees up our people who want to make the TV shows to use any characters they want. And I was like, but no, they can't do that.
Yeah, because
They
you had
can't do
them
that.
kill off Deadshot.
Yeah, you can't use Deadshot, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman.
Well, they're
Can't
kind
use
of
them.
using Superman, and it would surprise me if Superman does not. If Supergirl has a long life, if Superman doesn't officially show up at some point.
Yeah.
And I mean, you kind of have Batman with Gotham.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Well, I think really it's less to do with what characters you can and can't use and more about creative freedom in plotting these shows. And she used Gotham as an example. If they had to connect, then Gotham couldn't exist, even though Gotham would be a prequel show.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that necessarily works. But it's basically saying we don't want to hog tie any of our creators into fitting into the plots that are going on in our movies, which, you know, we've seen to sometimes better, sometimes worse effect on the Marvel TV shows on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's like we kind of have good plot going into the season, coming off of the summer movies, and then it's just kind of biding our time. And then the movie happens, and then all of a sudden we get like 6 great episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm
a big fan of the
separation.
Yeah.
And maybe eventually we'll have our TV Justice League.
Yeah.
Come on. Let's just
One
do
day.
it. One day. Yeah.
Speaking of Justice League, I got a tweet here from Joseph Alone who says, "What did you think of Berlanti's plan for a Booster Gold and Blue Beetle film?"
Yeah, that was announced this week.
Funny you should ask.
Huh, funny.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm a huge fan of Justice League International, the Giffen DeMatteis run from way back, from which the bromance of Blue Beetle and Booster Gold was born. So I think it's a fantastic idea. I think it's an amazing idea for a movie.
Yeah.
I just think it's amazing. It'd make a great TV show. It'd make a great comic book. It has made a great comic book. And I think that the Justice League International run is woefully undervalued. I think so much of current day superhero comic books owes such a debt to Justice League International. Basically, any superhero team comic that has a joke in it, he's indebted to that run.
Really?
Absolutely. I think so. I mean, you talk to creators. I was just talking about it with Chip Zdarsky on Twitter last night. Just happened to be talking about it, not in conjunction with the movie, but it's a huge influence on him. I know it's a huge influence on Bendis. It's an amazing book, and it's even more amazing when you consider the era it came out of.
Yeah.
I think it debuted the year after Watchmen and Dark Knight Returns.
So it's like right in the middle of that grim, humorless era.
Yeah, comedy team book was not a popular thing at the time.
Yeah.
It really wasn't. So it was an amazing kind of like Hail Mary thing that they did with rebranding Justice League that way. And it worked so well, and I reread those books constantly, and they're amazing.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I think it'd be really smart of DC to kind of bank on the less marquee characters because there's a lot of diversity in their line. And you could do something really cool with a blue. I'm more interested to know whether it will be Ted Kord Blue Beetle, which you think because Booster Gold, but Jaime Reyes is their Blue Beetle right now, and he's been in the cartoons. He's been
right. There's a whole generation of kids who would go to see that movie who are more familiar with Jaime than they are with Ted.
To be honest, Jaime's pretty cool. Like,
He
not
is
to knock
pretty
Ted.
cool.
Ted is
He's
cool.
an amazing character, and he should not be pushed out of the way for anything. Really, he's an important character. He's a great character. He's a very relatable character. I'm hoping they're looking at having it both ways. Because I could see where if it's a blue and gold movie, you want Ted Kord for that relationship. And then you could have a Jaime TV series because I think that would be
really
fantastic.
cool. I'd really like
That
to see
would be an
Jaime on the
amazing-
Arrowverse.
Yeah, he'd be such
he would
a great
fit in
character.
perfectly.
Oh my god, just the comic relief.
See
and
him
he's
and
a Peter
Cisco
Parker
hanging out and like just
character
nerding out together.
But I would suggest that there could be an amazing blue and gold movie with Jaime.
There's
Like
a
if in the movie Ted Kord had retired or he's dead or he's gone or whatever.
So he's our
and
Michael
Jaime,
Douglas.
You see Jaime and Booster Gold bond for the first time, and it's almost like a Lethal Weapon kind of situation where you have the veteran and the rookie who's kind of bugging him and all that kind of stuff. I think that could be an amazing.
That's funny
movie.
that you say it that way because they described it as a funny buddy cop movie.
There you go.
That'd be
Booster
great.
Gold and Blue
I can
Beetle.
predict the future. That's what we learned here.
Also, there was a Smallville episode with Booster Gold that had Jaime as the Blue Beetle, but Ted Kord was a part of it, as well as kind of the mentor figure to Jaime. Without him being the Blue Beetle persona, he just ran Kord Industries and was partially responsible
And look,
for
we've
Jaime
seen that
getting his
dynamic
powers.
in the Ant-Man movie with
Yeah.
Hank Pym and Scott Lang.
Yep.
And so
Yeah. What'd you think of the Ant-Man movie?
I loved it.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
really
It was
liked
really
it.
It was
great.
a lot of fun.
I mean, it's not my favorite movie, but I just had a blast. I mean, there was like at least a few times in that movie where I laughed like very heartily, and there was one moment where it was so funny and so good and so perfect that my jaw dropped and I couldn't laugh because of how good it was. All I could do was do like this to my girlfriend. I like that. I thought it was great.
I think it's a crime that more people didn't go see that movie because it's legitimately one of the most fun movies they've ever done.
so fun. Yeah, absolutely.
That was disappointing to hear. That it was just above the Incredible Hulk. I was like, damn.
Come on.
All right, it's Paul Rudd. Come on.
Yeah, we all love Paul Rudd. Going back to DC, though, and I don't know how much you're willing to, Sam, talk about this or how much you can, because I know you don't necessarily work for them, but like it came down this week. They'd been trying a lot of new experiments because Batgirl had been taking off and kind of like these quirkier books, and now apparently there's been something. DJ, we were talking about this before the show.
Yeah.
Something came down that they're trying to go back to the meat and potatoes style of superhero books.
Yeah.
Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah. Basically, they tried a bunch of new things with DCU, YOU, Superman not having his powers, his identity being outed, Commissioner Gordon as Batman, the new Dr. Fate, all that jazz, and they're not selling as well as they had hoped. And so word through the grapevine is some titles have already been canceled or are going to be canceled in the next few months. They're going to go back to the more Superman back to being classic costume, flying around, all that jazz, which is kind of a bummer. Because you want to see when it's easy for characters like this, like we were talking about, they've been around forever. They can kind of get into a creative rut, and it's cool to see it shaken up a little bit and see people trying something new and letting people do whatever they want. So I would suggest check out the new DC comic books, look through, see the stuff that you like. That's to help support. If nothing else, support doing something different. It sounds like Marvel's doing something similar with all new Marvel Now. And kind of like letting the reins off a little bit and just shaking it up. Just seeing like the new Avengers line has Miles Morales and the new Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's going to be an amazing book. Wade on that book.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
And you've got your new run on Legendary Star-Lords coming out from that.
Yeah, we're going to have a brand new Star-Lord #1 in November. And we're actually, for the first 5 issues, we are telling the story of Star-Lord Year 1.
Nice.
Really?
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so we're going to go back in time. 18-year-old Star-Lord, his first year in space. We're going to show how he got into
My
space.
first year in space.
Yeah, exactly. What he did there, who he met there, some of the girls he tried to make out with there and failed. It's a coming-of-age story. It's a sci-fi story. I like to describe it as a almost famous in space.
Cool.
Very
Cool.
It's awesome.
That's a cool way to describe it.
Javier Garron is drawing it. He did a little bit of Cyclops at the end with John Layman. He's a fantastic artist, and he's just perfect for this book because he can do these amazing facial expressions. He can really nail like the petulance of an 18-year-old. And he can turn around and design like 5 amazing spaceships right off the bat.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And when does that book roll out?
Mid-November, somewhere in November.
Yeah, because they're starting to roll out, like, I think all different Avengers is in, like, October. So they're
believe that's
slowly
October.
starting to roll that stuff
Yeah.
out. That's cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of great stuff in all new, all different Marvel. I've been with the company since Marvel Now and through all new Marvel Now and now this, and this has got like such an amazing, strong lineup. Doctor Strange with Jason Aaron, Chris Bachalo.
Yeah.
I've heard
it's
good
gonna be
things.
an insane book.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah, it's
Cool.
gonna be great. Yeah, just really across the board. And I gotta mention Weird World #1 by Sam Humphries and Mike Del Mundo.
Oh.
Yeah.
I know that
coming
name.
out in December. It's following up on the Weird World Secret Wars book,
Yeah.
Secret Wars mini that Jason Aaron did with Mike Del Mundo. And it's going to be right in that vein. It's about a girl from Earth who literally crash lands on Weird World, and she has to figure out a way to get home.
Very
Cool.
Cool.
Yeah, she's got like her own personal quest that she's on, and then she gets interrupted by getting pulled into the Weird World. So now her personal quest has gotten these insane complications by being in this land with fighting apes and tank orcs and all this stuff.
Tank orcs?
Tank orcs. I'm just telling you the stuff that we've already seen in Secret Wars mini. And part of the joy of writing this book is I get to look at what Jason Aaron did and kind of write a script that essentially says to Jason, like, that was cool, but it was a little weak. Check this out instead, Like, the one-upmanship is a lot of fun.
That's cool.
Awesome. So, as a comic fan, I would highly recommend, like, with all new, all different Marvel, with DCU, try new things. If you're kind of like, well, I don't know if I like the new costume design, it's screw it. Check it out. Try it out. Yeah,
Did you try anyone read Omega Men at DC?
Yes. Yeah,
Awesome book,
It's
right?
on my
Fantastic
total experience.
book.
It's so
Sadly,
interesting.
though, it got nixed.
It got nixed, but I forget how many issues they're getting, but they're going to be able to tell a
Yeah, I wanna say
story,
they're getting
beginning,
to,
middle,
like-
and end, and that's an
Yeah.
amazing, especially for that story. It's like
Yeah.
such a well-constructed, well-considered story.
Yeah.
Definitely something you don't see in a superhero
For
comic
people who've
often.
never heard of it, can you explain real quick?
Yeah, it's a sci-fi DC book. It has Kyle Rayner, the Green Lantern, in it, and it sort of tackles like I don't know how to describe it without saying all the stuff that I love about it.
Yeah, it's a weird like. It's a dark space opera.
It's a dark space opera,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And it deals with things like terrorism and religion and fascism.
refugees and all that stuff. I mean, it is really like sometimes when you say that stuff,
It's like
people kinda
Battlestar
tune out, but
Galactica.
it's way more in the Battlestar Galactica vein than it is like some preachy thing about here's how you should feel about X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
But it's an amazingly written book, beautifully drawn. It's gonna be fantastic right all the way through the finish. So
Wonderful.
glad you guys are in that book. That's
Yeah.
All right, so real quick, I'm just going to talk about our good friends iTunes before we continue.
You're friends with iTunes?
We are,
Dude, I can
good
barely get
friends
iTunes to
with
return my
iTunes.
text.
Oh, well, we'll send a text to iTunes. They'll text you back.
Please do.
Because,
I hope
folks,
there's an emoji in it, too.
there is going to be. Because, folks, the best way to support this show and all of us here at SourceFed and SourceFedNERD is to go to iTunes and rate and review this show. It's available on iTunes, on SoundCloud, on YouTube, and your ratings and reviews on the iTunes version really help us get sponsors that keep this show going. It helps people know that this is a great show for them to tune into. And if you're watching on YouTube, hello, why don't you click that subscribe button if you haven't already, because Sam and Maud Garrett, the lovely Maud Garrett, who's not here today but will be back next week, they do nerd news 4 days a week.
4 whole days a week, just
Wow.
for you
Days a
kids.
week.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and Sam, you just did a Comics 101 all about the Flash again. Is that right?
Oh, shocker! Yeah, no, I I'm a big fan of Flash.
He's doing this
No,
little
but
laugh.
I'm doing a thing for the fans of the TV show. You can check that out. It's everything that we already know for season 2, just wrapped up in one nice short little video to get you caught up for the premiere in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah,
Our shows are coming
pretty
back.
exciting.
Yeah.
Starting with
Starting with Gotham on Monday, which it was available for 1 day on the PlayStation Store, and I missed it.
Oh no!
I know.
Oh no!
like you have a life or
dang!
something.
I have to wait 3 more days to watch Gotham.
Was it really? Did they leak it? Was it?
No, it was a
an
purposeful
accident?
thing.
Oh, okay.
It was a purposeful thing, but just for 1 day. And if you love the Flash as much as Sam, we actually are selling some brand new Flash leggings on forhumanpeoples.com, and they look badass.
Star
Do
did a
they
great
look
job.
great?
Yeah,
Star
Star
did
did
not
an
wearing
amazing
them
job.
right
Yeah.
That's messed
I don't
up,
know
dude.
if we have
You
it.
know
in
what?
the-
I
You
thought
know
you
what?
loved the Flash.
You know what?
I love the
Sam
Flash.
has a point.
It's such a that's other Sam.
Yeah, it's usually
Yeah,
this Sam.
that
right?
Sam has a point.
You're the Sam.
And also,
I
if
got
you're
the
watching
points
this
now.
right now and you like this shirt that I'm wearing, I also got that from forhumanpeoples.com, and it's an Avatar and Legend of Korra design.
Oh, that's dope. I didn't even. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Earth,
You a fan?
water,
Yeah.
fire,
of
air.
course.
It's pretty awesome.
It's pretty great. You got
You
some
can
White
check that
Lotus
out.
in there. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, forhumanpeoples.com. Okay, so the question of the day, we always have one, and it is, what is the future of comics? If you want to weigh in on this discussion, you go to Twitter. You use the hashtag SHRoundup. Sam is going to grab your tweets and is
Send
gonna
me them
fire
tweets.
them out here. You could also hit us up on the chat if you're watching live. So, Sam Humphries. Not Sam
Yes.
Basher.
I got
The one true Flash Sam over here.
So, as somebody who has written for larger publishers, smaller publishers, even thought about self-publishing,
Thought about it.
done
started
it,
with
me.
done self-publishing. In your opinion, where is the industry moving?
I think the future of comics looks a little like Mad Max Fury Road.
Okay,
No.
so
I
women
mean,
are in charge. There's no war.
Very, very exciting.
I'm very bullish about the future of comics. I don't think that's just because that's where my livelihood comes from, but I think we're seeing a convergence of a lot of different threads of history of the comic book industry come together at a very opportune time. One is sales are up, money is flowing. That's great for everyone. Retailers are up. The money is happening, so they can buy more comics. They can expand the marketplace. They can try new things. They can support new books. If retailers are happy, the industry is good. The other thing is that is happening at a time when digital sales are growing exponentially every year. So after years of debate and legitimate worry, we now know that digital sales will not cannibalize the sales of the comic book stores.
Yeah.
We are going to have comic book stores and we are going to have digital sales, and both can be successful at the same time. So that's an amazing thing. That's a huge leap forward for this industry, and now we can pursue that with complete confidence. The other thing that's amazing is a focus on diversity in this industry.
Yep.
Long overdue focus on diversity. It's very contentious at times, but I feel overall that we are moving in a very good direction. More needs to be done. More will be done, I hope. But I feel like this industry has made some very good strides to being more, not just more inclusive of readers, which is great and necessary, but the next big step for us is to be more inclusive of a diversity of voices.
Yeah.
Making the comics. We've got diverse fans, we've got diverse characters, now we need the diverse voices.
Yeah.
We need all of the above. All the other two are great, but they don't negate the need for the third. So I feel like we've got really great momentum and really great smart people talking about this. We've got smart people working behind the scenes to make it happen. So I feel like we are well positioned to having an amazing sort of let 1,000 flowers bloom turn in this industry. And I think we already have, I think with the great work that Marvel and DC have been doing, the amazing books that have been coming out of creator-owned publishers like Image and Boom and Dark Horse and Oni. It would not be hyperbole to say that this is another golden age of comics.
Yeah.
I think the odds are looking like we will look at the next phase as the new golden age of comics and not look backwards at this phase and be like, oh, those were the golden days and we fucked it all up.
Yeah.
There's still a chance for us to fuck it all up. But I think...
well, a lot of good Americans have fought hard to make sure that you have that chance.
To fuck up comics.
Absolutely. To fuck up comic books, which we all really care
Forever.
about. Yeah.
Can I tell you something I'd like to see, and you can tell me why I'm stupid?
Sure.
Is as far as the business side of things go, I would like to see, the price of digital comics to drop.
Okay.
Because right now they are currently the same as the print comics, and it doesn't make sense to me. I'd also think it'd be cool. It would make sense to me to see comics work like albums. Like you can buy the individual issues digitally, and then you'd buy the collection, and then it would come with a little card that has all the issues digitally as well. Like when you buy a vinyl record, it comes with a thing with the download for the thing.
I see what
So
you're
that way
saying.
you have the nice, in this case, this nice hardcover, pretty thing that you can put on your table or on your shelf, but then you have all the digital copies to go with you and stuff like that. I think that would make sense to me. And then you can go to because I love my local comic shop. I don't want to say to go anywhere anytime soon. You can go get the nice
Plug your
hardcover
comic
edition.
shop. Where you shop
House
at?
of Secrets.
Oh, great store.
Yeah.
Love that store.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Good friends with those people, and I love that shop, and I highly recommend going there. I think that, to me, that kind of, I guess because that's what it seems to be working for music, I think that would make sense for the comic book industry as well.
I have a partial answer for you on the second one, which is that it's not quite what you're talking about. That's a great idea. But Marvel does, I'd say like 90% of Marvel's books, if not 100%, come with digital downloads.
Downloads within the thing, yeah.
Yes. So it's close.
Yeah.
Not quite what you're talking about, but it's getting there. In terms of the price, price is determined by the free market system, by the invisible hand, as Adam Smith would tell you.
Yeah.
And people seem to be comfortable with the price point that comics are at now.
Yeah.
Sorry to tell you.
No.
The marketplace at least seems comfortable.
Yeah.
I think that there's definitely some leeway, and digital comics are still so new that there's a lot of experimenting going on.
Yeah.
And that most of the comics on Comixology drop in price after a month or two.
That's good.
And I know it doesn't help for books that you're excited about or books that are talked a lot about on Twitter and so on and so forth. But I think, they drop down to like $1.99 or somewhere around that.
Yeah.
So if you can wait, or if your to-read stack is already so high that you can't even get through it, holding off for a little bit might do it for you.
Yeah. And also, isn't there kind of the fear that once you start lowering that price, you start to devalue comics, and it could lead to a runaway devaluation. Once you lower it, say, to $3 an issue for everything, digitally, people are going to be pissed off that they have to pay more for a physical copy, and then those sales will drop.
That is an excellent point. There's a fantastic case study in which this has happened.
Oh.
It's called the entire music industry.
Interesting.
Because Apple and iTunes
Yeah, you make a song $1. Why would I want to?
Elbowed the music industry into agreeing that the price point should be 99 cents per song, when the numbers didn't really work out on the music industry side. And then when the experiment worked, and the iPods and the iPads and the iPhones and the iTunes Store and the entire ecosystem was booming, it still didn't work out for the music industry. And they wanted to bump the price up to, I don't know really what they wanted to do, but the compromise that they settled on was $129. And even doing that, they had to like claw their way up to that point with consumers. Nobody regrets starting high and then moving low. Starting low and moving high is almost impossible.
Yeah.
Do you think all these all these movies that are coming out with Marvel and DC and all that is that helping with comics, or are people still not going to the comic book store?
From what I hear, that is helping more than it has been in the past. I know that this is all anecdotal. I don't really know, but just from what I
tell
understand,
us the numbers that they send you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Let me read off
Yeah.
from the president of comics.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
here's the
Here's
new
what's
show.
going on right now.
I know, back in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man days and those movies that came out then, retailers didn't see a huge influx of people coming in to buy comics with those characters. I know that changed, maybe not starting with Guardians of the Galaxy, but that was different with Guardians of the Galaxy.
Especially since there wasn't a huge nostalgia thing with them. It's not like Spider-Man, like, oh, Spider-Man, I remember from my past. Like, who are the Guardians of the Galaxy?
Right. There's kind of a factor there of like, well, who are these guys? Like, look, weird. Why is this tree talking to me? I want to find out more about this. Yeah.
It definitely made me pick up Guardians of the Galaxy comics because I didn't know. I didn't know
Here we
who
go.
it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah. Do you think that creators will have more freedom with established characters, or is the leash getting tighter with the kinds of characters that wind up on TV and movies? Like, does the character on the page have to match the character we'll see in theaters?
That is a good question. I can only really speak from my own personal experience. And in my experience, the leash has not gotten tighter. In my experience with Star-Lord, because of the success with Star-Lord, Marvel is more excited to do crazy things. So, for example, if Guardians of the Galaxy had bombed, we would not have had the leeway to do Black Vortex, which was the Guardians of the Galaxy X-Men event that we did earlier this year. So the success fed into the comics in a way that gave us the leeway to say, we really want to tell like a really big story in a really big way, and they're like, go for it.
Great.
That's really cool. That's good to hear.
What do you guys think about this? From Ain Barry on Twitter, it writes, more tech with digital comics. Add a little sound effect, a little wind movement in the background. Bring us in more. What do you think about that? Is that what you need in your comics?
That sounds like you're getting more into the animation.
Do you want special effects inside of your comic books? Do you want it to bring you in? Not to make fun, not making fun of you. Just like I don't think I need that in my comic book.
When there is a comic book with a confetti cannon inside of it,
imagine
we've gone too far.
Or t-shirt gun.
Yeah, that is a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Like that.
When someone gets smacked in the face with a T-shirt so hard that they lose a tooth,
Yeah.
and Marvel Comics gets sued into oblivion.
Would you pick up that comic though? I would.
Oh,
I mean, it would be a collector's item.
Yeah.
It would be a collector's item. You keep that mint. You do not release that T-shirt.
It's interesting that because when people talk about that stuff, it reminds me of the motion comic like DVDs that they'll put out.
Yeah.
And that always seems like I don't know if this benefits either medium, like animation or the comic. But then stuff what Mark Waid's been doing with the like infinite canvas and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I feel
his
like
stuff is great.
You got to take it. I mean, I guess you just got to see what actually benefits the medium and isn't just a gimmick. You could do 3D if you're looking on your iPad. It'd be very easy to do like 3D comics
3D
without
comics are great.
without the glasses.
They've been doing 3D comics for
Really?
a while, yeah.
Do you think that they could do like a VR comic? Like it's still 2D animation, but with that panorama view?
How'd it work though? Like a fight scene?
Yeah, like legitimately, you do a splash page, but all around you. And instead of it just being one or even like 2 pages, you kind of can pan around and see it. And you've got the text boxes here.
like when you're creating a comic and you want to have a big impactful moment, you make it a full page splash or a double page spread. You know what I mean? I would love to create a double page spread that took over your entire field of vision.
Yeah.
Like that's all you see.
You do a VR comic where you're in the
moment.
spread.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, no,
That'd be pretty cool.
You could do a VR comic, like as long as there was like a place where it was like kind of like start here, like something subtle enough to get you to look up here to read the first text box and follow all the way down, and then after you've rotated 180 degrees, everything on this side of your field of vision reloads and is now the next page, and it's just kind of you can sit in your office chair
and just spin around
and just slowly spin your way through the whole issue.
I love that in this glorious future we still have to sit in office chairs.
Of course, we have to.
course.
The segment on the YouTube comments writes Harley Quinn did a scratch and sniff comic a few years ago.
Good
Scratch
call.
and sniff.
Stegman,
3D.
is that you, Ryan Stegman?
Maybe.
Idiot.
So we have scratch and sniffs. We have 3D. Imagine if you did Soaring Over California, but for a comic book.
I love Soaring.
I don't know
Over
how that
Hey,
would work
hey
at
man,
all.
Disneyland, they could do it. Disney and Marvel.
They're relaunching Soaring Over California with HD. I can't wait.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's
Oh, I
closed right
can't
now.
wait.
Yeah, could be amazing.
Oh,
I'm
my
pumped
God.
for that then.
Isn't it crazy that like now what I think is like one of the most beloved attractions at that park is like the most relaxing and peaceful?
Oh yeah,
Everyone wants to go to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That pleasing citrus scent.
Yeah. I just went to Disneyland a month back, and I remember it's been forever, but getting into the Pirates of the Caribbean, that smell, I was like, whoa!
Oh
yeah.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, I'm so
Now I
excited.
associate pools with pirates.
I almost pushed like a 9-year-old girl. Get out of the way! I mean, like,
I really wish that Blue Bayou restaurant wasn't $40 for a small plate.
That is a delicious restaurant, though.
I've never been.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good. Treat yourself. Treat yourself.
DJ, you want to do your pull list?
no.
No?
Perfect.
No, I'm
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
course I
like, what?
do.
DJ doesn't want to talk about comic books?
DJ doesn't want to do his pull list, so
I didn't prepare
next
anything.
week,
What
I
did
know,
see
and you
guys
know
for
what, and you
homework?
know what,
Studies,
and you
yeah.
know what, I am going to throw it to you, so you need to think ahead of what you
All right.
are planning on picking up next week.
Okay.
But here's what I'm
Next
going to
week?
recommend for you guys to pick up next week. Gotham by Midnight is one of the books that is being canceled. So I recommend like going back, catching up, checking out. It's a really cool book that looks at the supernatural side of Gotham City. Also, speaking of Harley Quinn, you should check out Harley and Power Girl #4.
Oh, I'm reading that comic.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Over on the indie side of things, Grant Morris is continuing his Nameless comic, his cosmic horror series with issue #5. Speaking of Weird World, if you want to get a leg up for when Sam here comes out with his Weird World, check out Weird World #4 coming out next week. And again, throwing in the Star Wars comic for those fans, Kanan #6, if you've been enjoying the Star Wars Rebels show. Also, it's written by Greg Weisman.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Greg's
And he's
great.
pretty much
Who's
the
the
best.
greatest?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So he's responsible for my favorite version of Spider-Man.
Oh, no kidding.
The
Which one?
cartoon, Spectacular Spider-Man
Oh,
cartoon.
yeah, of course.
So
of course.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
that's anything you're planning on picking up next week?
I'm not quite sure what's coming out next week, but I'll talk a couple comics that I've been enjoying recently. We Stand on Guard. You guys been reading that?
Yeah, from
the
Brian
Image
K.
book
Vaughan.
from
Yeah.
Brian K. Vaughan and
Yep.
Steve Skroke. That's
Yeah.
an amazing book.
Yeah.
I really love that book. Saga's great. Love Saga, but if you miss the futurist Brian K. Vaughan, this is where you gotta go. I love Lazarus by Greg Rucka and Michael Lark. If you guys aren't reading that, you gotta check it out.
Yeah.
That's an amazing book. Every issue is fantastic.
Greg Rucka's a champ.
I'm gonna miss so many people's books. I feel so terrible. Oh, a great comic you should check out. It's online. You can read it on the web if you want. It's called Miss Hadra, and it's spelled Mishadra. And it's by my friend Yasmin Omar Atta, and she's been publishing it online, doing it herself, self-publishing. And it's about a guy who has epilepsy and how he deals with that condition.
Whoa.
And it's an amazing book. It is a beautiful book. It's 15 chapters. She just released the last chapter last week, and it really is a fantastic achievement.
That's super cool.
It's so great. Everyone needs to check out that book.
Miss Hadra.
Miss Hadra, Mishadra. Or I'll tweet about it.
Super.
There you go. I say check out Injustice. I'm going to say it every single time I'm on this damn show because they're dealing with Greek gods right now. It's Superman versus Zeus. I'm freaking out.
Dang.
And
Dang.
it's
I'm
so
losing it
cool.
now.
And the Justice League comic, because everyone basically reads Justice League, but there was a tease for it that this guy turns into a new god.
He's holding a Flash.
A
Yeah,
Flash.
he's holding
Oh
a
yeah,
Flash
it's
for
an
those
audio
at home.
podcast. Thank you.
Also, I saw a couple people ask me in the comments, my crowdfunding campaign for my short film Real Mature is still ongoing. It's at Indiegogo. Look up Real Mature. It is there. We've actually just crossed over the halfway mark in a week.
Congratulations,
Yeah,
buddy.
it's pretty cool. In a week,
That's
yeah.
awesome. Great work.
So if you want to contribute to a psychosexual horror film, and you know you do, check that out. And I know a lot of people are probably like, oh, wait till it gets closer to the end. Give now, because the more you give now, the more money.
Yeah,
we know
why
we
would
can,
you wait to the end when all the
can-
perks are taken, you dummies?
So we can do some really cool stuff with it. We're talking to some pretty cool people to be a part of it, and yeah.
Super.
Good for you, man.
And real quick before we wrap out, just because TV is back and this show was created to review TV shows, we've had some questions about what we're going to be talking about this year.
Yeah.
So obviously, next week's show, which again, Friday, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we're going to be reviewing the Gotham premiere.
Yes.
And all of us here, none of us are really huge fans of Gotham. I'm really excited to see what they do this season. Don't get me wrong. I would love for them to prove me wrong and for them to hook me on this show.
Yeah.
That's all we've ever wanted.
Yeah.
You're rooting
Truly.
for it.
Yeah.
You're rooting for it.
No, legitimately rooting.
We
for it.
always
Because
do.
we
We
have to
always
watch
do.
it, so we're hoping that it's.
So we're going to be talking about Gotham. We will be talking about Heroes Reborn this season. Obviously, Flash and Arrow when they return. Legends of Tomorrow when it premieres. Supergirl when it premieres.
iZombie when it premieres.
iZombie when it premieres
That's
again.
great.
Just such a fun, great show. We're going to be talking about Jessica Jones when it premieres in November, and stay tuned because we're going to figure out another live stream event, kind of like what we did with Daredevil.
We watched all of Daredevil in one day.
Yeah.
Live?
Yes.
Live.
Wait, we live streamed two.
No, like
Yeah.
3 or 4.
Yeah, that's what happened.
I am
Oh
so
my God.
excited for somebody asking what is the name of my short film. It's called Real Mature. But I'm so excited to do our live watch this time because when we watched Daredevil, it was a couple weeks after I'd gotten out of the hospital for my appendectomy, and I just started leaking.
Yeah.
Which was it turned out to be normal. Yeah, but it was like we're doing like we're doing like periscoping and stuff, and I'm kind of like trying not to like let on to the fact that I'm
That
like
he's
on the
leaking.
couch.
Yeah,
Not
I'm
even bleeding. Leaking.
leaking, just seeping. It was
Yeah.
gross.
Ladies.
Yeah.
Ladies.
So we're gonna be talking about all of those shows when they come back, and and Agents of Shield, obviously, and Agent Carter when it comes back.
Somebody's asking about
many
Lucifer. We
goddamn
may check
shows.
out the premiere for Lucifer.
Yeah, we're gonna check out the premiere of Lucifer, and if we like it, then we'll keep talking about it.
Which
What
means
if-
we're going to check out the premiere of Lucifer.
Yeah.
But what about the Nick? Is this not the place for shows
This
that
is
take place in
not-
1900 about surgical advances?
As
or-
much as I love the Nick, and I do review that show for AfterBuzz TV, you could go to
Oh,
YouTube.
all right.
Boom.
I'll be there for
Boom.
that.
And we get guests from the show. We have everybody on from the show, everyone except for Soderbergh. If you wanted to watch that show, you could go somewhere else. But this is all about superheroes. Damn it!
Do you
and
watch
iZombie.
any of the shows that
And
we were
comics.
talking about?
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
those shows
I
that we
watch. I catch up. I binge most of them.
Yeah.
Daredevil, of course. Flash, I think is great. Arrow, I just caught up on when Flash started. I was like, I gotta get in on this.
Yep.
I like Gotham.
Yeah.
You like Gotham?
Yeah.
You like Gotham?
So there
I
you
like
go.
Gotham.
All right.
There you go, kids.
I'm with you. Like I'm feeling like a grand slam coming in season 2. You know.
Hoping.
and What else were you?
I
talking
just
about?
want a
Agents of
home
S.H.I.E.L.D.?
run. I don't even care about a
think I
grand
watched them
slam
all.
yet. I just want one home run. One.
No,
I think I watched everything you mentioned except for Jessica Jones, which of course.
yeah, it's coming
Yeah,
out.
just
Yeah.
haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I'm excited for.
I don't get any early access to that. I reload my Netflix at midnight, just like
Just
everybody
like
else.
everybody else.
It's just a regular guy over here.
Yeah. Some folks are asking about Doctor Who. Doctor Who's not based on a comic book,
Yep.
so we're not going to talk about it
Oh,
here.
that's too bad. I love medical dramas.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah. Well.
no.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to. Code
Andy
Black
Corey
myself.
came up with that joke.
You know, but you know what? But you know what? If they made Citizen Jack into a TV series,
We would
Nice
talk
plug.
we
about
would
that.
talk about
Heck
it.
yeah.
Nice plug.
Yeah.
Somebody's asking if Jessica Jones is even a good character. Heck yeah, she
Yeah.
is. You got to go check out Alias.
Yep.
I think they just put it up on Comixology, so if you read digital
Smart
comics,
move.
it's like right there for you.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Oh yeah, and the
Fantastic
first
character.
the
Great
first
character.
pictures from Jessica Jones were released today, and she has the same expression on her face in all of them.
Yeah, they're very.
It
but
seems exciting.
you get to see Carrie-Ann
Carrie-Ann Moss,
Moss in there real
And-
quick, and
David
Hellcat.
Tennant as Kilgrave.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the Purple Man. He's another great character, so I'm so psyched he's on the show.
I really hope. I'm really worried people won't tune into this character because it's not like a costumed, high-flying, like established character. I think they'll just see like a girl doing detective and like, what is this stuff? It's like Jessica Jones is a really
But
cool
you do have
character.
that Marvel.
It's
tag.
really worth your time. I'm really excited for this show. I'm really excited to see what they do with it.
It says time's up, so should we get in a debate about Batman or Superman? Who's
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
come on.
okay, yeah, just,
Or
check
Batman,
that off real
Superman, or Citizen Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's gonna be fast.
So Citizen Jack once again comes out November
4th.
November 4th
From Image Comics.
From Image
you can
Comics.
pre-order it now at your retailer.
You
Let them
should.
know you want it. We got a fantastic Chip Zdarsky of Sex Criminals variant cover. It's awesome.
Very cool.
Wow. Cool.
Very, very cool. Sam, thank you so much for joining
Guys,
us.
thank
on
you
the
for
show.
having me. This is a blast. I love
Great.
it.
And people can find you on Twitter at Sam Humphries.
At Sam Humphries, a very creative username that I made for myself.
So that's
yeah.
SamHumpries.
Perfect. Look at this
Boom.
guy.
He's good at
Look
spelling.
this guy.
Yeah. Thank you.
Spelling bee over here.
Sam, they can find you.
At Sam Basher, SamBashor.
And DJ.
They can find me at DJ Talks Trash.
All right, super. Thank you guys so much for watching and
Thank
for
you guys.
listening.
Thank you for chatting with us.
Yes, and gals and everybody else.
Gals.
We will see you next week, Friday, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Don't miss it. I'm Matt Lieberman. See you next week.
I'm
Bye-bye.
Sam. Goodbye.
I'm Sam. Hi, Dylan.
I am not a Sam.